Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Walt here from Down the Block Sports, and today I want to talk about the New England Patriots. The Patriots are 4-4 after a huge win yesterday in Los Angeles, defeating the Chargers 27-24. With the Patriots at a 4-4 record in second place in the AFC East, I want to talk about if this Patriots team has a legitimate chance to make the playoffs or not. So again, I'm Alec Walt. This is Down the Block Sports. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more of my exclusive content. Again, the Patriots defeat the Chargers 27-24, 4-4 on the season. And when I look at the road ahead, I actually think this team has a chance to potentially do some damage this year. And like I mentioned before, 4-4 is not great. The Patriots are finally looking for that marquee win. Because before they beat the Chargers, they beat the Jets on the road. Congratulations. Rookie Zach Wilson threw 4 picks. Not a great game. They beat the Texans on the road. Again, the Texans are one of the worst teams in football. The Patriots almost lost that game, needed a comeback as they were down 4 offensive linemen. And then their other win was also against the Jets, who, again, rookie QB, and dealt with an injury during the game. So it was kind of like, when are we going to finally beat someone that isn't a rookie? Well, that finally happened. They beat Justin Herbert. A couple of huge defensive plays, not Mac Jones' best football game, but they went on the road across the country, played one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, and the Patriots are finally 4-4. Now, will this team have a chance to make the playoffs? This schedule moving forward looks not as tough as I thought it was at the beginning of the season. Because next week, they go to Carolina. They play the Panthers. At the beginning of the season, it looked like the Carolina Panthers were one of the up-and-coming teams in football. Now, I still think they are an up-and-coming team, but they aren't looking like it. I mean, they won 3 consecutive games. They've lost 4 in a row before beating the Falcons. They only scored 19 points. Last week, they played the Giants. They lost 25-3. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we were saying Carolina Panthers, could they make the playoffs? I mean, this team doesn't look like a playoff football team right now. Sam Darnold has been massively inconsistent, and he's injured. We're still waiting on word from the Panthers on what happened last week. I'm not going to make any speculation or anything like that on this show. We'll wait till we get an official word from the Carolina Panthers. But if Darnold's not playing like the early season Darnold, even though this game is at home and Stephon Gilmore looks like a great addition, I'm glad he found a new home. Unbelievable. This Carolina Panthers team doesn't look as scary as they did before. Now, another team that doesn't look as scary is the Cleveland Browns, who lost arguably the most boring football game of the 2021-2022 season yesterday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they're dealing with injuries at the quarterback position. They, again, were a team that I expected to potentially make the playoffs, compete for their division this year. Yes, they are 4-4, but I'm not seeing that truly out of the Cleveland Browns right now. I mean, yes, they picked up that win, but like I mentioned against the Steelers, they lost 15-10. They scored 14 points a couple weeks ago against the Cardinals. They're dealing with injuries at the quarterback position. Now, if you were to have me play contenders or pretenders here, there's no way I can say Cleveland right now is a contender in the AFC. I mean, yes, everyone in that division is pretty much tied, and the Bengals losing to the Jets last night is just unfortunate because they've had such a good start to the season. I still believe the best team is Baltimore. That's a different conversation for a different day. We're talking about Cleveland, and they just simply don't look like a team that's going to be competitive. Baker yesterday, 20 for 31. I think a lot of it's going to be determined on how they play against Nick Chubb. But again, this Cleveland Browns team that I was saying could be a potential sleeper in that division is currently in last place. Again, I know they're pretty close, but this isn't looking like that. They aren't playing like I thought they were going to play this season. Now, later on, the Patriots play the Falcons. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think the Falcons are too competitive. Of course, they traded Julio Jones in the offseason. Calvin Ridley, their number one wide receiver, is stepping away and needs a mental break. This is not a team I expect to come anywhere close here in the NFC South. They are 3-4 on the season. Picked up 2 wins against the Jets and the Dolphins, which again isn't saying very much before they lost yesterday to the Carolina Panthers. But before they play New England, they play at New Orleans, at Dallas. Those are 2 brutal crowds to play at before they host the New England Patriots. Again, their offense is going to be awful moving forward without Calvin Ridley. Matt Ryan's old, and the defense isn't great. Good for them for being 3-4. But again, looking forward, the Patriots are 4-4 and have 3 games in their schedule immediately they can win. Seriously. Carolina, good, not great, inconsistent, not playing great right now. Cleveland, injured, inconsistent at the quarterback position. Falcons, a team that's going to probably have a top 10 pick in the upcoming draft. And you want to continue, we're receiving reports that Derrick Henry's probably out for the season, and Tennessee is our game after Atlanta. Now, I don't think the Patriots win all these games. We're going to have some inconsistencies. We have a rookie QB, very well coached. Again, the Patriots' record could be better, but you got to play 60 minutes of football, and that's something they failed with early on in the season. But we're asking the question, could this team make the playoffs? And their next 4 games are extremely winnable. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Derrick Henry. Obviously, as a football fan, I hope he's not out for the season. But if we're talking about the end of the season, what makes you think he'll be ready on November 24th? If there's no Derrick Henry in Tennessee, they're a complete different offense because they've already dealt with injuries to their 2 other wide receivers as well. That makes a complete different matchup there for Tennessee, who I even said at the beginning of the season wasn't going to be a game the Patriots win. Now, it gets a little bit tough towards the end. Bills, Colts, Bills. Bills, I don't expect the Patriots to beat at all. I think the Bills have a very legitimate chance to go to the Super Bowl. If they're active at the deadline, we'll see what other pieces they can add. The Colts are a weird team because yesterday, specifically, they scored 2 touchdowns, it seemed like almost immediately. And then Carson finished with 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I mean, it seemed like they just exploded in that first quarter, and you didn't really get much else after that. Again, they're not a team you can mess with. They have Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league, but that's still a 50-50 game, in my opinion, on what Colts team's going to show up. And then you end the season with Jaguars-Dolphins. Rookie QB. I mean, the Dolphins have shown some inconsistencies. Of course, Tua has been up and down. They're 1-7 on the season, so I don't really think anyone's too terrified of the Dolphins. That game, of course, is in Miami, where the Patriots have struggled before. But let's be real here. Patriots are 4-4. They end the season with what at the beginning of the season looked like a really tough schedule. But as of now, the only games I'm really concerned with are the Buffalo Bills twice. Because the Panthers, Browns, Falcons, without Derrick Henry, the Titans, Jaguars, and Dolphins are absolutely winnable games for the New England Patriots. Absolutely winnable games. Inconsistent Darnold, injured Baker, Falcons probably finding a way to blow it. No Derrick Henry, a rookie QB with one of the worst, if not the worst, head coaches in football, and an inconsistent Miami Dolphins, which, of course, they had their 1 win against the Patriots this year. We don't know how they're going to look at the end of the season, but that's what they have to work with. At the beginning of the season, I was saying the up-and-coming Panthers, the up-and-coming Browns, have fun stopping Derrick Henry. You know, the Dolphins were a sleeper team. Of course, they dealt with injuries and are having a pretty terrible season, but these were things we were saying before the season. Now, it's Mac Jones, a pretty good quarterback. It's the Patriots can win a game on the road. It's the Patriots have a really damn good defense. And you want to know what the Patriots can do? They can beat a lot of these teams towards the end of the year. We'll see how the Colts look, and I don't expect them to beat the Bills. But this Patriots team can absolutely make the playoffs, in my opinion. Absolutely. And I wasn't saying that a couple weeks ago. When they played the Saints, and they had a pitiful football game, had easily the worst game of Mac Jones's career. Easily. It was the only game the Patriots weren't in all season long. Lost to the Bucks, lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Dolphins. But those were games they were at least in. They weren't in that Saints game at all. And we had an interview here on Down the Block Sports, Connor Robinson, Michael Balco, and Connor asked me the question, is this even a playoff team? I said, absolutely not. But Mac's matured a lot since that loss. And they finally picked up a big win on the road against a legitimate quarterback, which they hadn't done until Halloween in 2021. Now let's look at the landscape of the rest of the AFC. Obviously, I mentioned I think one team will come out of the South. I don't know if Tennessee is probably going to get it. We'll see how they look without Derrick Henry moving forward. We look at the West. They're all kind of packed together within a game or two. Kansas City not looking great. Definitely going to need to pick up a game here on Monday Night Football. I think there's a chance two teams could make it out of the West. They're all going to beat each other up. The North's also going to beat each other up. I think Pittsburgh and Cleveland will eventually fade out of the picture. Cincinnati has been very good this season, but of course picked up that brutal loss yesterday to the Jets. I definitely see them in the playoff picture. But I do expect Baltimore to win that division. So if one team is coming out of the South, and there's 7 playoff spots, okay, we know there's going to be 4 division winners. I could very easily see one team coming from the North, one team coming from the West, and one team coming from the East. And no one's close in the East other than New England. And New England's schedule isn't that hard. Remember that. I've mentioned the schedule where that there's very easily about 5 or 6 wins in that schedule. Easily. Patriots get to that 10-win mark. They have a very legitimate chance to make the playoffs. Very. Now, they have to play Buffalo twice, unfortunately. But it's absolutely not out of the picture here. Absolutely not. Because I think Denver, they're not going anywhere. They're in that bubble. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, no. That leaves New England in the mix. It should be a very interesting second half of the season. Again, the Patriots are 4-4 and have a chance to fight for a playoff spot here in the AFC. That's it for my reaction to what I think of the Patriots heading into the second half of the season. Do you think the Patriots have a chance to make the playoffs? Feel free to comment that below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Down the Block Sports for more of my exclusive content. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you very soon.